What's up guys, it's me Deshaun, and today we'll be ranking every single member of the Phantom Troupe. If you like Hunter x Hunter and want more videos from the channel, please do me a favor and like and subscribe. It's as free as the air you breathe. Now let's start this ranking off with the weakest of the Phantom Troupe members. Troupe, whatever you like to call them. Number 1, Troupe. I hate to say it, but this guy is kinda useless outside of his Hatsu and or ability. Not only is he the weakest in terms of physical power overall, but it's kinda obvious that Troupe is not suited for combat. It seems as though his expertise were only really useful in the strict business of thieving. His Nen ability Gallery Fake allows him to create copies of any item. And if you're stealing something, leaving a fake copy or version of it around would be one of the best tools to have. It will make it seem like that same valuable was never stolen in the first place. Very useful in terms of thieving, but when it comes to the discussion of whether or not you're strong or if you have any real combat ability, not so much. We don't know how strong his other Nen abilities are, such as Ten, N, Gyo, or Ko, or anything along those lines, but considering he's a Phantom Troupe member, they would have at least been in a decent enough bracket for him to be a member. Up next, we have Pakunoda, one of the earliest Phantom Troupe members, so it's safe to say she has a decent amount of experience when it comes to being in the field and or being a member of the Phantom Troupe. When it comes to physical strength, she is the third weakest. And in terms of combat and Nen ability, she typically uses a revolver, so she might actually be a pretty decent marksman. She better be if her Nen ability, her Hatsu, centers around the use of her pistol. It's pretty ironic when you take into account that she uses a pistol and the fact that her Nen ability isn't necessarily the deadliest. Her Nen ability is based around this deadly weapon, but it's not efficient for combat, similar to Troupe. More or less in terms of any underworld or thieving-like activities, her skills and abilities are more suited towards that of intel gathering and or interrogation. She has the ability to read the minds of people she makes contact with through her ability psychometry, and she can implant memories with her ability Memory Bomb, where she uses her pistol, which would then give you her memories. But if she were to read someone's memories and then shoot them with that same bullet, they would then lose their memories. So in short, she has memory manipulation. Not really well suited for combat, but still a pretty decent ability. Her pistol's nice, but because everyone on this list is more or less a Nen user, those bullets would bounce off. Unless she could charge those bullets with enough Nen to damage one of the other troop members, and I doubt she can. Up next, we have Killua's brother, Kaluto. I know he looks like a girl, but yes, brother. He is the newest and least experienced Phantom Troupe member out of everyone currently. But is that even really fair to say, considering this is a member of the most elite assassin family known as the Zoldycks? That alone could put Kaluto's skills on another level. Killua having a technique like Rhythm Echo at such a young age should say enough about the Zoldyck training in itself. Being a member of this family should say enough about your skills. Now, he's the least experienced Phantom Troupe member, but he does have a fair amount of combat ability. Speaking of combat ability, this would be the exact reason why I would put Kaluto over both Troupe and Pakunoda. His Nen ability might not do anything crazy such as read minds or copy objects, but in terms of combat, actually I say in general, it is a lot more practical. Kaluto can create origami paper dolls and use this paper to communicate with other people. He can also hear others through this ability without being detected. But his most impressive ability would be Dance of the Snake's Bite. He creates a tornado of small papers, manipulates it, and uses it to torture his opponents. He can even make his fan so strong that it can cut through steel. Due to being better suited for combat and having a decent amount of experience, despite not being a part of the Phantom Troupe that long, I feel like this is the perfect spot for Kaluto. Up next, we have Shizuku, and she would be second to last in terms of physical strength in the Phantom Troupe. This would actually put her below Pakunoda, but unfortunately, this would not matter. because Shizuku's Nen ability would be better geared for combat than Pakunoda's yet again. Now when you take into account that Shizuku could beat Gon if she used her dominant hand, and this would be after, it would be safe to assume that when it comes to anything physical, Shizuku would be above Kaluto. Personally, I put Shizuku above Kaluto because as a Phantom Troupe member, she's typically in a different league. Her Hatsu, Blinky, is a powerful weapon that can inhale an infinite amount of non-living objects, and if Kaluto and Shizuku were to fight, I think it would boil down to Shizuku sucking up all of Kaluto's paper and overwhelming him with her experience in Nen abilities / techniques that she would have learned while being a Phantom Troupe member. You could kind of debate back and forth when it comes to Kaluto and Shizuku's placement, but if I had money, I'd bet on Shizuku. One of her most dangerous attacks is when she uses the vacuum to suck up all of your blood. Good luck dodging that. Up next we have Machi, who is in the middle in terms of physical strength. Her and Chrollo share the mid spot, but she is above Chrollo. With this and her experience, it's safe to assume that she's extremely skilled in hand-to-hand combat. So much so that there was a moment when Killua tried to stab her and she contracted her muscles enough so her chest wouldn't get pierced by him. Another special ability of hers is the fact that she has a sixth sense. Just weird hunches that she would have that would generally be true. Like knowing that her and Nobunaga were being watched by Gon, Killua, and Leorio. Or the fact that she knew that Gon and Killua were somehow related to Kurapika. Now when it comes to Machi, just like Kurotopi and Pakunoda, her Nen ability is more or less a support role. But out of the support role Nen ability, she has the most combat efficient. Kurotopi steals treasure and replaces it. Pakunoda interrogates and gets information. Shizuku cleans up crime scenes. And Machi is a medic. Machi's special ability would be Nen Stitches. She can seal up wounds completely and reattach severed limbs. And these same strings have regenerative properties, being able to rebuild dead cells or create brand new ones. But unfortunately, this Nen ability takes a lot of time. So typically she would use her strings for combat like a very stealthy ninja. She could stealth attack you, choke you out, cut enemies with her strings, make traps, and the most important thing, maybe not important but impressive, is the fact that she can turn you into a puppet. The length of her string is so crazy that it could circle around the globe and still be as strong as cotton. And 1 meter of her thread could lift a ton. In comparison to everyone else's Nen abilities and combat abilities, she has a major advantage. If the combat abilities didn't speak for themselves, look at the utility through her Nen thread. No one else's ability under her, unless probably Kaluto's, is coming close to the resourcefulness of Machi's threads. Above Machi, we have Shalnark. Likewise, he has a similar ability to Machi. He can manipulate and control his opponents, but rather than using threads like Machi, he uses his cell phone. He has these pins that he plugs into his enemies, and anyone that is marked with that pin, he will then control remotely from his cell phone. In terms of physical strength, Shalnark is the 4th weakest. It's pretty funny when you consider the fact that both Shalnark and Machi almost have the same exact ability. And then when you take into account that Machi is significantly stronger than Shalnark, on paper it seems as if Machi should be above him. But the main reason why Shalnark is above Machi on this list is because of his special move, Autopilot. During this move, Shalnark plugs one of the needles inside of himself, and his body gets a significant Nen boost, making him stronger and faster. One hit alone from his aura could tear a Chimera Ant to shreds without even trying. When it comes to this autopilot form, we haven't seen the full extent of its powers. Does it automatically dodge? Does it automatically defend? Because Shalnark has absolutely no control over himself while in this form. In fact, while in this form, he doesn't remember anything because it's literally just his body automatically fighting and winning for him. Due to the lack of information, I'm not going to put him any higher, but in terms of combat ability, I feel like this blows Machi and her Nen ability out the water. We never see her display any type of Nen attack or aura at this level before, so I think it's fair to put Shalnark above her. They're both similar, but Shalnark barely wins it because of this ability. Up next, we have the Phantom Troupe member, Benolanov. Funny enough, he is under Machi in terms of physical strength, but above Shalnark. Now what makes Benolanov so dangerous is how his nen actually functions. Benolanov came from a tribe of shamans that use their bodies as instruments. They put holes in their bodies for wind to travel through and make music. And through playing this music, he's able to attack his opponent and create different things. For example, when he plays music through his body, he can create armor for himself. With his nen ability, Battle Cantabile Prologue, he creates armor in a spear and can use both of these things for defensive and offensive options in battle. He can basically use his music to support himself and amp up his current abilities. Not only this, but he can take that same music and turn it into an attack. With his move Battle Cantabile Jupiter, he'll begin to perform a dance and music will hit the air. If this music makes any contact to your eardrums, you are guaranteed to get hit. Even if you run away, all attempts seem to be futile unless you are faster than sound. If there's one thing that I do wonder about his ability is it the act of hearing that causes you to get damaged? Because why doesn't this Chimera Ant just simply cover his ears? Or is it the act of the sound vibrating through the air? Does this mean if you cover your ears, it wouldn't matter as long as you're in a radius for the vibrations to hit your body? Who knows, but this ability is ridiculous. You can't dodge it unless you're faster than sound. And I think it's easy to say that it almost seems as if Benolanov has better combat ability due to his different transformations, and it seems way more practical in combat than Shalnark's autopilot. The constant music in the air is either amping him up or attacking you. A big question that I have is, how do you even fight that? Up next, we have Franklin, the 4th strongest Phantom Troupe member in terms of physical ability. Now, not only does this dude have super strength and he's huge like a tank, he's so strong he could clash with Nobunaga one-on-one. I'd like to point out something very important, and I feel like a lot of people actually sleep on this. Franklin's nen ability and just how broken nen guns and bullets are. Nen guns and bullets are so strong, I think you could even debate that Franklin could be even higher on this list. Franklin by himself was able to emit bullets that could turn an entire auction hall into mincemeat in seconds. He could tear through an ordinary nen user's shield and inflict fatal damage as if it were nothing. He would be the equivalent of a gun for a nen user. A nen user would make a gun obsolete, but a nen bullet and or nen guns would be the equivalent of a normal gun to a nen user. And that right there is broken. During the Dark Continent arc, we see what nen guns are capable of. Nen guns from lackeys, and they can tear through walls like butter. The main thing here with Franklin is that you just cannot sleep on nen guns and bullets. And when it comes to the members below him, I don't think they have anything to deal with this ridiculous amount of firepower. None of these guys are really suited for combat, and Benolanov, the one who is, if you attack him from a distance and shoot him, gun him down, he's not playing any music. Now up next, I decided to use Nobunaga. He is a master swordsman, and if you touch his N, if you step into his circle, you are getting cut. Now unfortunately, Nobunaga's nen ability has not been revealed, but we've seen him clash one-on-one before with Franklin. But to make things simple, I believe that Nobunaga would destroy Franklin if they actually fought. Despite Nobunaga's nen ability not being revealed, it's obvious it's going to be sword related. More or less, it is going to be geared towards close combat. Now it's obvious that Nobunaga and Uvogin are the major combatants in the Phantom Troupe. Franklin is a decent combatant, but I can easily picture Nobunaga cutting down the bullets coming at him with his nen ability and finishing Franklin off if push came to shove. Then you take into account that he fought alongside one of the strongest Phantom Troupe members, which would be Uvogin. Despite the lack of information in my head, I feel like this is the best spot for Nobunaga. I can't see him being any lower, and I can't see him being any higher. He's the swordsman of the Phantom Troupe, and I just don't see anybody below him being above him. Up next, we have Uvogin, physically the strongest member of the Phantom Troupe. He's so strong that Nobunaga claims that Uvogin would never lose in a fair fight. Never lose. He's so strong that when he focuses his aura into his fist, it has the destructive power of a missile behind it. And at some point, he was honing this skill so it could be equivalent to that of a nuclear bomb. Now, for Nobunaga and the entire Phantom Troupe to be that confident in Uvogin should say enough in itself about his combat ability. In terms of what he brings to the table as a Phantom Troupe member, he is literally the tank, the powerhouse, the offensive storm of destruction. Every single player in the Phantom Troupe has a role that they play, but Uvogin's is simply combat. He is not a medic that can fight. He is not an interrogator that can fight. He is not a member of the cleanup crew that can fight. His sole role and purpose is to kill everyone and everything that faces the Phantom Troupe. It is a no-brainer with a role like that as to why he would be this far in the list. His Nen ability, Big Bang Impact, is simply just his punching strength. Now, this placement in the last placement that I just did, aka Uvogin, I know this is going to cause a lot of controversy and a lot of turmoil in the comment section. So if you will, keep in mind that these two spots could be interchangeable. Above Uvogin, I decided to use both feitan and Finks. Now, I'm pretty sure Uvogin has better combat ability and is stronger than both of them. But if there's something I'd like to add, is the fact that in a fight, strength isn't everything. Now, I know people will try to downplay Feitan because of his fight with Zazan, but keep in mind he was very rusty. Like comments from Benolanov saying still not at the top of his game. I think it's fair to say that Feitan was nerfed during this moment so we could actually have an excuse to see his ability. He even gets faster and stronger as the fight progresses. If he's in top form, I do feel like he has a good shot at Uvogin, mainly because of his Nen ability, Pain Packer. The debate here would be whether or not Feitan could survive the punch that Uvogin hits him with and damage Uvogin with the power from that same attack. If he can, due to his assassin techniques, use of deception while fighting, and his Nen abilities, I would put him above Uvogin. If he cannot, I would put Uvogin above him. And this same debate could be used with Finks. He would be equal to Feitan because it would be debatable on whether or not he would be able to survive that attack. And there are simple things to keep in mind like Feitan and Finks being faster than Uvogin, etc. This is how I feel like Finks' fight with Uvogin would play out. He would swing his arm around because his Nen ability, when he swings his arm in a circle, it makes his arm and aura stronger. If he were able to just dodge Uvogin the entire time and beat him with speed, more or less he would be able to swing his arm enough times to kill Uvogin. It's really just a matchup thing. I don't really know how Uvogin could have the edge above these two. Is he faster? I really doubt he's faster. Is he stronger? He is definitely stronger, but these abilities and other things just make it feel as if Feitan and Finks are more likely to win. But I definitely don't think it would be as easy. If we use Feitan at his best, Finks at his best, versus Uvo at his best, I think they win because of matchup. Up next, we have both Iyumi and Hisoka. Now, their Nen abilities have way more resourcefulness than the other Phantom Troupe members. Bungee Gum, when you make your aura, have the same properties as rubber and gum. And Needle People, or just Iyumi's needles in this case, can damage and kill opponents, manipulate parts of his own body, so on and so forth. Iyumi's skills are basically unparalleled because of being both a member of the Phantom Troupe and a member of the Zoldyck family. His experience and skills are on another level entirely. Feitan would be an amazing assassin, but Iyumi would come from the best and most elite assassin family, period. Then the fact that he is rivals with Hisoka, and Hisoka is so strong, he was able to push Chrollo to use more than one ability from his book. The fact that he's even able to fight Chrollo in itself is insane. And as I mentioned Chrollo, he is the strongest character in the Phantom Troupe as well as its leader. He's also one of the strongest characters in the entirety of the series. The only way Chrollo would ever lose is if Togashi, the creator of Hunter x Hunter, wanted him to lose because he has a phone book of abilities that he can pull out of nowhere. He has the tactical prowess of a genius, dissecting his opponents, even beating Hisoka without trying. The entire fight during the Hisoka versus Chrollo fight, he was showing Hisoka that he would never stand a chance against Chrollo. They are not in the same league, and that is a fact. Hisoka lost the fight the moment he chased Chrollo because by that time, when they were playing cat and mouse, Chrollo already dissected him and made the perfect game plan against Hisoka. This exchange in dialogue shows this enough. Chrollo decides to show his hands and show Hisoka exactly how his abilities work, even explaining them to Hisoka. And it's clear that Chrollo is trying to take Hisoka out in style. That is more important than the outcome, because he was showing him if he ever gets in a fight, he will wait until the conditions are ready for a sure victory. If Chrollo fights you, he's winning. After literally showing Hisoka that he would lose, as he breaks down his personality, breaks down Hisoka's net abilities, and shows exactly how to counter them, he says, "That's the end of the explanation. I'm not saying this as a challenge, but I'll win. I'm 100% sure. Will you continue?" Because Chrollo is not going to lose. If Chrollo is not fighting in style, if he were to fight all out, this fight would have played out very different. Then you take into account that Chrollo is so strong, he was toying around with Silva and Zeno Zoldyck, with Zeno even admitting in an all-out fight he would lose against Chrollo. And again, if none of this is enough, the plot in his abilities and whatever ability Togashi wants to rip out and give Chrollo should say enough in itself. Now, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this Phantom Troupe ranking video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Hunter x Hunter videos. And here's some more videos to check out on the screen. I hope you guys take it easy. It was fun, and I'm out.